Alright, hey YouTube, Nate here. So the creative one just uploaded a video of what is in his dock, and it made me realize that I actually haven't done one of these in probably like 2 years. Don't think I've done one since my old MacBook, which would have been a long time ago. So we have to do a new one because it's been a while. So two disclaimers. One is, as you can see, the screen is already a clutter. If I showed you the desktop, that would be even a bigger clutter. So we're just going to leave it with the clutter like this, so I do apologize for that. Secondly, the dock that I am sporting is pretty small, so I don't have that much in it. The reason being is that I'm still just using my MacBook Pro's 13-inch screen, so I really don't want too much in there because then it gets just really cluttered and small and just kind of ugly. So I do plan on investing in a external monitor sometime this year, probably around Christmas time. So that's going to be great because I do wish I had some more screen real estate. So that's going to open up a whole new world. So let's go down to the dock. It's down here at the bottom hiding. I guess we'll start off with that. There is that I do hide my dock, and the reason being that, like I said before, I am working with a small screen. If I had a bigger screen, I'd probably just leave it up at the bottom at all times, not hiding. But I do like the hiding on the laptop because it just makes it seem like it's not there when I don't need it to be. And also, it's on the bottom. I do not get why people put it on the left. I think that just looks stupid, but that's just my personal preference. So, obviously, the first thing we got is the Finder. Not much to say about that, other than it pretty much does everything I want it to. Moving on, we got iTunes, of course. iTunes is great, probably use it once a day. I will say that I do love the new iTunes logo. I think it looks beautiful, and I think it goes perfectly with the next thing we got, which is the Mac App Store. Looks like I do have an update for an app, too. I should get on that soon. So yeah, the Mac App Store, I haven't been using it as much as when it first came out, but it definitely is a great place to discover apps, and if I ever am looking for a new app, I definitely search the App Store before I go online. So Apple did a great job with the App Store, props to them. And then to the right of that, we have Mac Mail. Didn't used to use Mac Mail. I actually used to go on the internet to check my mail, and actually my girlfriend Sammy uses Mac Mail, and she kind of convinced me to start using it. And I honestly don't know why I didn't use it to begin with, because it's amazing. I just liked checking my email when I felt like checking it, not having it tell me when I have an email. But I definitely like this a lot more now. The two inboxes that I use with Mac Mail are my school email and my MediaStomp email. For my Gmail, I have it somewhere else, but we'll get to that a little later. So, Mac Mail, nothing to say about that. I'm sure plenty of you have seen it and or used it. Moving on, we have Photoshop. I don't do a crazy amount with Photoshop. I definitely wouldn't even have it if my school's laptop program didn't provide it for me. But since they do, I do find myself using it sometimes. If you go to the MediaStomp.com, if you see at the top, we have the 3 boxes that have popular articles, which actually I do have to update tomorrow. That's what I use Photoshop for a lot, is just quickly doing one of those. And just any other small things. I'm not crazy good at it. You know, I'm no graphic designer, but I do know how to kind of work my way around it now, and it does come in handy. One of those pieces of software, like I said, I wouldn't pay for if I didn't get it for free, so definitely nice to have. Moving on, we have Final Cut Express, which actually is open right now. Working on a trailer, actually, for a game that I sort of helped develop. I only did design the levels. I didn't do any of the serious coding with it, but I did do some XML with the levels. So yeah, make sure you check out Fall Ball Adventures in the iTunes App Store. You won't be disappointed. This is a trailer for the next update that we have coming, which should be coming in the next couple weeks here. Not really quite sure when that's going to be coming out, but definitely some great improvements with the updates. So it's definitely worth checking out, guys. As you can see, it is from Mint Apps. So yeah, there's Final Cut Express. I usually don't use Final Cut Express for any of my YouTube videos because they don't get too crazy. I use iMovie mostly, but when I have anything that requires some color correction, if I want to make it look nice, obviously any heavy editing I'm doing, anything that requires something that is more complicated than what iMovie can handle, then I'm going to go to Final Cut Express. But definitely any professional projects that I know are for any businesses at all, I'm definitely going with Final Cut Express before iMovie. So that's when I use that. So yeah, and then, like I said, here's iMovie next to that. I use that for my YouTube videos, any small projects, like I said, anything that doesn't need any heavy editing. I have been using this lately because I actually do have iMovie HD still. I took that from my old MacBook, but it isn't working. When I export the videos, they don't play well with YouTube. But sometimes if I'm having a lot of troubles with the new iMovie, because I can't stand the new iMovie's interface, they have improved it a little, but I still can't stand iMovie's interface now. So I sometimes will edit in iMovie HD, export it, then I put it into the new iMovie and export it again, and then it'll go to YouTube. But by then, obviously the quality isn't going to be as good as it should be. It's not terrible, but I definitely don't like it all that much. So yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the new iMovie, but it's worthy enough to be in my dock. Next up, we got Microsoft Word. Not much to say about that. It's just there for school. Anything that I'm going to be typing up for school, I'll do in that. If I'm doing anything else, though, for just small notes or anything, I will use TextEdit usually, but that I don't have in my dock. I just go into applications for that. Next up, we have PowerPoint, which all of the Microsoft Office applications were put in my dock automatically when I got my school issued laptop. So I just kind of left these two in here, but I think PowerPoint really doesn't have to be in here because I hardly ever use it, but whatever, it works. So yeah, there's PowerPoint. I actually don't think I've even made a PowerPoint this year for any classes, so I definitely don't even really need it. But moving on to Photo Booth. Not much to say about Photo Booth, other than sometimes it's fun to just take crazy pictures, you know? So, great application that Apple included, definitely a lot of fun, and of course it's the thing that anyone who doesn't have a Mac always wants to play with when they get on your Mac. So, moving on again to iPhoto. Again, not much to say about iPhoto. I don't actually use it a crazy amount, but if I'm going to be importing pictures ever, of course I use it then, but I actually don't have that many photos to import. I'm not the type of guy who just takes his camera with him everywhere and takes 50 pictures and then goes home and uploads them. Usually my digital camera is just used for anything special that I'd want to remember, but just any day-to-day thing, I'm usually not going to have my camera with me. So moving on again, we have iChat. This I don't use a crazy amount, but when there's be a few times where someone I know will be on iChat other than Facebook chat, but usually Facebook chat is what I'm using more often. Skype I usually use for video calls too, but occasionally with like my friend Nate, if we want to do a screen sharing or anything like that, we'll use iChat, because with the iChat screen sharing you can actually control their computer, so definitely a lot nicer than with Skype where you can just see it and kind of tell them what you want them to do. Next up, we have Safari, my browser of choice. Actually, I do think that I like Chrome's interface a little more, but it's just one of those things that I've been using Safari since day one with my computer, my MacBook, and I've tried using Chrome and I love it, but I just can't get myself to put it in the dock and use it instead. I'm just too used to Safari, and it's just one of those things where I'm so used to it that whatever, you know? Definitely nothing wrong with Safari. It works great. It has a beautiful interface. So, you know what? I'll just keep using it for now. But I do plan someday to just take like a week and use Safari, a week and use Firefox, and a week and use Chrome, just to see exactly how I feel about each one. It'll be interesting to see. That is something I plan on doing someday, and probably doing a little video about my experience afterward. But moving on again, we have Eclipse. Eclipse is software that is used to code. I use it to code in Java. This is the IDE that we use for all of my computer science classes this year. So yeah, Eclipse is awesome, I guess. It does have some weird stuff about it that I'm not crazy about, but it does work a lot nicer than Dr. Java, which was what I used last semester. Dr. Java was just a little simpler, which I guess was okay because back then I was just starting to learn. But Eclipse is definitely a little more advanced. So yeah, not much to say about Eclipse. Actually, maybe I can open it quick to show you guys kind of what it looks like. While that's opening, over here we have Xcode. Xcode is what I use to code for the iPhone in. I do have a book that I'm working through that I actually have to get working on again. So I'm learning a little by little, but like I said before, I'm also have done some level designing for that Fall Ball Adventures game, but that was just with some XML inside Xcode that my boss Eric already predefined everything, and he did all the real Objective-C coding and set it up so that when I did the XML coding that it would work in the project. So here is Eclipse up here for those of you who haven't seen it before. This file that's open here is class here that I was working on for class. That was confusing. Then over here you have all your projects, and what I like about Eclipse is that it has tabs, which is really nice, so you can have a bunch of classes open at once. And then yeah, so that's Eclipse. That's what I code in. So definitely pretty nice. I'm sure if you are a programmer, you've probably heard of it and probably have used it. So moving on, we have Twitter for Mac. When this came out for the App Store, I just used it right away. I tried Twirl once before that and wasn't crazy about it. It just was weird having a Twitter browser instead of going to twitter.com, but now I hardly ever go to twitter.com. I just use Twitter for Mac. I know some people aren't crazy about the interface, but I definitely don't have a problem with it, since it's probably the only one I ever used. It works for me, so I'll keep using it. Moving on again, Stickies. Stickies, all I use for is my classes. So I have my CS class, my speech class, Spanish class, another computer science class, and then miscellaneous. So I just use this to kind of have an agenda of what needs to be done throughout the day. So yeah, that's pretty nice. Definitely one of those programs that I never thought I'd use, but have found great use out of it now. And then over here we just have iShowU, which isn't normally my dock, just using it to record. And then you got your downloads stack, your application stack, and your trash. Really quick, I said I was going to bring this up to at my top here. I have some extra stuff added here. Of course, you have the iShowU that's open, Twitter that's open, but this is what I was talking about. I do actually have this Gmail add-on, which let's see if I have a Gmail. No, I don't. If I did, there would be a little box that shows and hovers up here and tells me that I have an email, brief description of what the email is. So it's really nice. I like using Gmail on there rather than on the Mac Mail. I did put it into Mac Mail. Wasn't crazy about it. So I do like having my Gmail separate up there. And then Norton, which is antivirus, pre-installed when I got my computer from the school. Obviously, don't really need it because I don't think I can get a virus. So kind of silly, but you know what? Whatever. And then this over here is some note thing that I got that didn't really work too well, so I haven't used it since, but it stays up there since I haven't removed the application. So that about sums it up, guys. There's my dock. There's my top bar. There is my cluttered screen. So thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully you could bear all the rambling. What's in your dock video definitely shouldn't take this long, so I apologize. But thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you check out themediastomp.com. See ya.